Hello everyone. It is Easter Sunday, so happy Easter to everybody out there. A lot of you know me for my comic book videos and some of my rants that I do. And I have mentioned in previous videos that I want to do some movie videos and some other videos on other topics. So I got a request from a subscriber who said, hey, hoping that you do a movie video real quick soon because I'm interested in, seeing them. You pick the genre. So I said, okay. And I have some time today, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do one. So the genre that I picked is my favorite gangster movies pre-1950. And the reason I do pre-1950 is because if you look at gangster movies lists or top lists on YouTube, you can name all the movies basically. Godfather. Duh. It's one of the greatest movies ever made. Of course it's going to be on there. Godfather 2. Scarface with Al Pacino, 1980. Once Upon a Time in America. Goodfellas, Casino, Bronx Tale, Miller's Crossing, and on and on and on. So I thought, you know what, the movies on this list, nobody really sees them, so I'm going to do them. First one on the list, so we'll get started right now. I'll give just a real quick thing on it. I don't want to give away too much of the movies. So first movie on the list, 1930, Little Caesar. Edward G. Robinson plays a character named Enrico Bandello in this movie. Small-time gangster who has dreams of being a big-time gangster. And his partner in the movie, of course, is the great Douglas Fairbanks Jr. And the movie opens up where they're ripping off a gas station, and then they're in a little cafe, little roadside, food place, and they're eating spaghetti, and Edward G. Robinson sees an article on a big-time gangster, and he's like, that's where we're going. We're going to the city where big things happen. And it just kind of shows his rise in power from just foot soldier to being a leader to the end. And this movie didn't really glorify gangsters and was made Edward G. Robinson kind of a household name. So right there, Little Caesar, excellent movie. One of my favorites is The Public Enemy with James Cagney. This is another one basically. The funny thing about this is Cagney had a smaller part in this. Jean Harlow is also in this movie. Jean Harlow is an absolute gorgeous woman, platinum blonde hair, died at a young age, which was very tragic. Basically what it is just the rise of Cagney from just kind of a street hoodlum to, bigger gangster, bootlegging, prohibition, the whole thing. This movie also has the famous grapefruit scene, where if you've seen clips or you watch older movies where he's at the breakfast table and smashes this grapefruit into an actress's face. If you watch interviews with that actress, that was improvised, and she says it hurt because she wasn't expecting it. If you watch the movie, he smashes it right in her face. Public Enemy, 1931. 1932, original Scarface. This is the movie that De Palma based his 1980s version of Scarface on. The difference is, instead of an Italian immigrant, he made him a Cuban immigrant. Instead of liquor, it was cocaine. So this Paul Muni, George Raff, Boris Karloff. Again, rise of a gangster. This movie received a lot of bad publicity because for its time, the violence is pretty bad. Tommy guns. This is a movie done by Howard Hughes. He was the producer of it, directed by the great Howard Hawks. A movie that you really, really want to see. And some gangster movies, they try to get you to like the gangster, or there's a part of the gangster that maybe in the movie that you get to see that the characters in the movie aren't supposed to see. In this movie here, he's just a badass. He's a gangster. He kills people. There was nothing to like about him. So, excellent movie. Scarface, Paul Muni. You have 1936 Petrified Forest. Humphrey Bogart, one of the first movies he ever did, he was doing this movie on Broadway. And they gave him the role. He didn't think he could do the role. The character in this, what was the name of that character? Oh, that's right, Duke Mantee. That's a great gangster name, Duke Mantee. This also has a very young Betty Davis. Betty Davis had made a name for herself in Hollywood a couple years prior to this with a movie called Of Human Bondage, where she should have won the Academy Award and didn't. So they put her in here, and the premise of this basically is Duke Mantee and his gang are on the run from the police, you know, surprise, surprise, and come across this cafe where they hold up, and there's a group of people in there. Betty Davis' father owns the cafe, and of course, you know, she ends up falling for Leslie Howard, who she has a thing for. You kind of see that on the cover, but of course, even at a young beginning age of being in movies, Humphrey Bogart, every role, every scene he's in, he just takes the camera and just takes the scene. So from that movie, 1936, came 1937's Dead End. Humphrey Bogart, again, he was the bigger character here. He played a character named Babyface Martin. This is a movie, has also one of my favorite actresses in it, Claire Trevor. She plays kind of a really sad, you know, washed up, used girl in this movie. Basically, Bogart's character is a big-time gangster, goes back to his old neighborhood just to kind of see it for one last time. And there's a great scene where he sees his mother, and he's trying to, you know, hey Ma, it's me, and she's just kind of telling him, you know, you're a killer. You know, there's nothing I want with you because you're nothing. You're just, you know, you have all these, you know, all this money, but you're just nothing but a killer. And this is also the first appearance of the Dead End Kids. Very popular in the 40s and early 50s with their little shorts and, you know, the Dead End Kids, you know, haunted house and just movies. But in here, they're just kind of slummy kids. They don't do anything that's funny or, you know, just kind of show themselves as, you know, poor kids living in a poor neighborhood. Probably one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, Angels with Dirty Faces. This is James Cagney. This is 1930. What is it? 38, I believe. 1938. James Cagney, Pat O'Brien. Of course, Cagney plays the famous character Rocky Sullivan. Dead End Kids are in this movie as well. Pat O'Brien plays a character by the name of Father O'Conley, who him and Rocky were friends as kids growing up. Of course, they try to steal some pens from a train, and Rocky gets caught and gets sent to a boys' home, and you know, you never see anything with, you know, Father O'Conley after that. And sure enough, you know, as the story goes, Cagney becomes a gangster. Pat O'Brien's character becomes a priest, and it just kind of talks about their friendship, the different paths, and you know, you look at Cagney's character in this, and there's something about him that you like. He's good with the kids. He's very loyal to his friend, and it's a really, really good movie. It's hard to explain, but if you watched it and you like things like this, I think you really, really like it. So, Angels with Dirty Faces. Another Cagney movie, Roaring Twenties. Cagney plays a character who comes back, Eddie Bartlett, who comes back from World War I and doesn't have a job. So what people did back then, basically, when Prohibition hit, you sold booze. And it's just kind of his rise as just someone who really wasn't a bad guy, who becomes a bad guy. Bogart's in this movie as well. I believe this is 1939? 1939 it is. And again, there's a good side of the gangster. He's a gangster, but there's a good side to him. And just a really good movie. Another strong performance by Bogart. Another strong performance by Cagney. Roaring Twenties. Each Dawn I Die is another Cagney. There's, you know, Warner Brothers stuck Cagney in so many gangster movies. That's pretty much what everybody knows him for. But he was a lot more than just a gangster. So, excuse me, James Cagney, George Raft. You know, Cagney, he's trying to break out of prison. Raft is if I'm thinking of this correctly, he's a undercover cop who kind of infiltrates, befriends Cagney in prison, and then they just kind of, trying to get a, what do you call it? I can't really think about it, but I can't get the words out for it. But Each Dawn I Die, very good movie, another Cagney spectacular, and then finally a movie that everybody knows him for, if you are a Cagney fan, is White Heat. This was 1949. This is 10 years between movies. And the reason was because Cagney got tired of doing gangster films, told Warner Brothers, I don't want to be a gangster anymore. He had a movie he wanted to do called Yankee Doodle Dandy, which, as you know, Academy Award for him for Yankee Doodle Dandy, because he was a fantastic song and dance man, which people might not know. So basically Warner Brothers said, I'll tell you what, you do White Heat, and we'll give you Yankee Doodle Dandy. So he did it because he wanted to do Yankee Doodle Dandy. And of course, the character in this is considered by a lot of film people as the quintessential psychopathic gangster, Cody Jarrett. Again, nothing to like about Cody Jarrett. Just nasty, nasty, nasty. And a lot of people had said that the reason Cagney made him so nasty is because he was so tired of doing it, he was just going to play the guy, as nasty as can be. This is the movie where he has a special relationship with his mother, who his mother's everything to him. She kind of runs the show, kind of leads him in the direction of being a gangster. And there's that famous scene at the end, of course, top of the world ma. White Heat, a definite must for gangster lovers. And if you look at this, I have 9 movies on my gangster list, and of the 9, 7 are Warner Brothers, 1 MGM, 1 Universal. So we have Scarface, Dead End, White Heat, Each Dawn I Die, Roaring Twenties, Angels with Dirty Faces, Petrified Forest, Public Enemy, Little Caesar. Funny thing about this is, if you look at the pictures here, the pictures of Cagney, it's kind of the same pose. They just kind of did it differently. So they just ran them out so much. So again, it was a real quick video of some gangster movies that I liked. I hope you liked it. I didn't give a lot of information. I am going to do other videos in the future, probably very near future. If you have a movie genre that you like, or a specific movie that you might be interested in me doing something on, let me know. Again, I didn't give a lot of information on these movies because these are movies I think you guys would enjoy if you like that type of stuff. So again, personal opinion for me, the top 9 pre-1950 gangster movies of all time, in my opinion. I hope you liked it, but as always, if you didn't, nothing I can do for you. Have a great night.